y'all, so a lot of y'all know, if you know me, that I started my whole business thing by starting out making jewelry. So I made bracelets, I made necklaces, all kinds of stuff, right? And so today I'm going to teach you how to make a bracelet, okay? Just a simple beaded bracelet. I actually just made this one. But yeah, when I was in college, y'all, I used to have a little shop, and it was called Trendy Tassels. And it was just to make some money on the side, basically. It was nothing that I thought was going to grow into anything bigger. But anyway, I was in college. I was going to be a teacher. I did teach for like 6 years and then realized, okay, this probably wasn't my calling. But anyway, you're going to need some elastic. So any kind of like little elastic beading string will be fine. But you just want to make sure it's good elastic. I have this kind. So I don't know, it's 1 millimeter. So that does matter. You need to know the thickness of your beading string, and you don't want it to be too thin, okay? So you need some of that. I just, to kind of like go by how big I need it to be on somebody's wrist, because my wrist is kind of small, I just wrap it around mine and kind of measure it like that. So you do need that. You need your beads. I usually use wood beads, okay? So wood beads, you can find them on Etsy, and you can buy them in bulk on Etsy. That's normally where I buy mine. And you need some kind of glue to secure the knot at the end, okay? So to secure the knot at the end, that's very important, because you don't want it to come unstrung while somebody's wearing it. Sometimes I use Gorilla Glue. There is some beading or jewelry glue that you can buy, but I find that Gorilla Glue really is a lot more strong than the jewelry glue is. So Gorilla Glue will do fine, okay? You can find that at your local Dollar General. And then you do need kind of like a focal point for your bracelet. So like, this is going to be mine. This is going to be the big centerpiece, what you are going to see if you wear it. Like, for example, the wood was this one. And you kind of want to focus your other beads on that, okay? So when you're designing it, kind of see what you want to do. So I'm going to use this. I do have these little black and white beads. All this I found on Etsy, y'all, okay? So Etsy is a really good place if you're looking to start like making jewelry and things like that. Etsy is a good place to start. So there's that. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to kind of hold it together. You're going to put one end right here, and you're going to just do a little, it's not going to be anything tight so that you can get it undone. Just going to do a little loop through it, just like that, okay? You're just going to loop that through so that this is holding this side together, and you're going to bead the other side, okay? So we're going to start with that. So let's go. Let's start this. I'm just going to start beading them through, beading your pattern through. If you want to do your pattern prior, I usually just kind of freehand it, but I've been doing this for a while. If you want to start it prior to getting your whole thing done, you can lay it out and you can get your pattern started. So yeah, let's just keep going. Okay, so once you are finished kind of like beading it, and you've pretty much put all the beads on it that you want on it, so it's going to look like this. So just to double check yourself that it's not too little or too big, what I do is I put the two sides together before I tie it, and I put it on my arm to see, is it a good size, okay? If it's not, you might have to start over and like take some of the beads off and rework your pattern. So it just kind of depends how big or how small you want it. If you're just making it for yourself, you can measure it on your wrist. I try to do a standard size. Like I said, my wrist is really small, so I make them a little bit bigger than what my wrist is, because most people's wrists are not going to be my wrist size. So I kind of base it off of what standard size would be, okay? And you can make them bigger or smaller. Okay, so once you've done that, make sure you do not let go of this end. You are going to go over here, you're going to undo this bead, and you're going to bead it back on. Put it back through that one. And then all you are going to do is you're going to start tying knots in it. I tie multiple knots. I don't have a set number. I just tie it until I feel like it is like tied pretty well. So I'll do like a basic knot for the first one. That's going to hold it together, okay? So now I've got my knot. Sometimes I will do 2 or 3 knots. I'll wrap it around and I'll do a knot like that. I know I'm not being very specific on the knots, but really just knot it until you feel like it's pretty secure, because you do not want it to come unstrung. If you are selling it to customers, or if you're just wearing it, you still don't want it to come unstrung when you're wearing it. So yeah, I just knot it until I feel like it's pretty good and tight. So there, your knot's going to be pretty little. So it's going to be small regardless, but either way, after I'm done knotting it, this is when I'm going to get my glue. Now, don't judge me. Like I said, I know there are jewelry glues that you can like use. However, I use Gorilla Glue. It's kind of up to you, whatever your preference is. If you'd rather use jewelry glue, you definitely can. But I'm using Gorilla Glue, and I'm just putting a small dab. You do not need, you saw how little the knot was. You don't need a big knot or a big dab of glue, making it kind of like bulky. Okay, and then this is also going to be a very important piece. After you put your glue on there, put it inside of one of the beads, so that you cannot see the knot. So you're going to pull it into one of the beads, and you're going to make sure that it's inside the bead, because you, like I said, you don't want to see the knot. The knot's not really that big, but you don't want to see it. Okay. All right. After you've done that, you're going to cut the excess amount off. So you see, I still have quite a bit of beading string here. I just cut it off. and you're going to let that glue dry, and then you have a really pretty little bracelet, elastic bracelet. So yeah, that is how I make my bracelets. I have friends that I've made them for, and they have lasted them years and years and years. So I hope that helped y'all out if you were wanting to start like a little bracelet company or just wanting to bead for yourself.